In this video, I'll show you some advanced techniques you can use with MIDJOURNEY to create some amazing AI art. Now, these are settings you can use whether you're on a free subscription or even on a paid subscription as well. If you haven't seen my video on how to set up MIDJOURNEY, then make sure you have a look at that first. Just click on videos on my channel and you can have a look at that. But assuming you've got MIDJOURNEY AI set up, and assuming you're either a beginner or advanced when it comes to using, you should be able to follow these steps. First thing, when you're in any of the channels on the left, so whether that's a general channel or newbies channel, just click /settings, because you need to get an idea of what your current settings are. Click enter, and then you'll see that this is version 4 of MIDJOURNEY. Now this is the default setting, and this, to be honest, is the best one. These are older settings. Sometimes you might want to switch to version 3. And you can actually put that in a command prompt anyway, or test mode as well, which we'll discuss in a minute. To be honest with this, I'm just showing you anyway so you get an idea that there are different settings available. I would keep everything the same. So anyway, what's the first tip? The first tip is, apart from text prompts, you can actually use images from the internet. So as an example, I found this image on the internet and it actually happens to be another AI generated art image. Now you can actually right click on this and click copy image address. And then on MIDJOURNEY on the Discord, if you type in imagine and the prompt will appear, then you paste that particular image and then you leave a space or a comma, and then you can add some other things to it. You can't just do the image alone in version 4, you have to add some other text prompts to it. So you can add something like cinematic, surreal, whatever you want, and just click enter and see what happens. And we're just waiting for that to load up, and this you can use for any image pretty much from the internet. So if you already have a style in mind, you should consider using an image first and then adding some text prompts rather than looking to create from scratch. And you can see here, if I zoom in, the finished images. And I'm just zooming out again, so that can potentially save you a lot of time. So let's go on to the second tip. And the second tip is using certain words in the text prompt. So let's say, for example, in the image prompt, we were doing a, let's say, Komodo dragon, and it was supposed to be a concept art piece. Now you can see that's complete now, and the images, they look pretty cool. But one thing you could do is, if you copy and paste the same prompt, this time let's add something. Let's add award-winning photography and click enter. You can see now with the extra word there that the imagery is a lot more detailed, and you can take it a step further. So other words you could use. You can use things like intricate design, high resolution, hyper detailed, volumetric lighting, and so on. And it's for you to actually experiment with which ones you find suit what you're looking for. And while we're waiting for that one to load up, let's go on to the next tip. And the next tip is changing aspect ratios. So you'll see most of the designs, they're 1:1 in terms of the actual ratio. You can actually change this quite easily. So the example we had used before, let's use a different example. Let's say, maybe let's do some pixel art. And it's a picture of a 3D ape, for example. But what you can do here is, if you put the aspect ratio in, so if you put -- aspect ratio AR and then put 3:2 and then click enter, you can see here for this one, you've got the 3:2 aspect ratio. Tip number 4. So you can see here we use some extra wording, and you can see how detailed the pictures now are. Now what you can do is, if you're not happy with them, you can click on the re-roll button, and you can actually keep repeating variations and then adjusting. So if you click on this, it will just try again, and you can click on this indefinitely. And sometimes when I've done that multiple times, I found something that's been a little bit better. Tip number 5 is test creative. So this is a different version, a test version of MIDJOURNEY. So how does that work? So let's say we type in something here like, let's try something like utopian skyscraper. Now, if you remember earlier on in the video, I said everything is in version 4 as a default. Now you can change that in the prompt. So with the utopian skyscraper prompt, these are the options that I had received. Now, if we type in the same exact prompt, but we add at the end --test creative, you can see here the new pictures. And these, they'll only give you 2 options. So if you wanted some more options, you would have to re-roll. They don't always look better or more advanced than the version 4 ones, but it's definitely worth trying as an alternative. Tip number 6 is add a lot more specific features and requests. So let me give you an example. Go to your MIDJOURNEY profile, and then some of you will be able to see a community feed. You can actually search for prompts here as well. I happen to search for skyscraper, and then you can have a look through. And if you find anything that actually catches your eye, especially some of the top pictures, so you can actually click here on new or top as well. And you can see there's some incredible art here. You can actually have a look at what they use for their prompts. So for example, this Blade Runner style picture catches my eye. So if I go and have a look at exactly what their prompts were, I'm going to copy that and make some changes in terms of exactly what I'm looking for. So I just deleted the part about the actual character, and here instead of 80s, I'm going to delete that and put futuristic and also concept. And with these more detailed prompts, this is the kind of image that comes up now. You get a lot more detail in the picture, and then again, you can adjust as you want. Tip number 7 is going extremely broad in the actual prompt itself. So if we just type in skyscrapers plural, and I'm just waiting for that to load up. And the reason I'm doing this is the whole point of something like this is to actually make people who are creating art more creative, and you can do that by using very, very broad requests. Just this, and then maybe by re-rolling several times, you might see an idea that you might want to hone down on a little bit further. So for the general term skyscrapers, if you have a look here, you can see these are the results from such a broad search, but we can play around with that. So one thing, if you remember, I did before is typed in the words test creative, and this is what it looks like with the test creative. So not particularly good, but I also did a re-roll of the first picture, and this gives you a few other options as well. So for tip number 8, it's adding the type of equipment you're actually using. Let's say hypothetically to take a picture or an image. So I've typed in here as my first command, Batman, Christian Bale, cinematic, lava, logo, inferno, just something random. And this is what comes back. So nice enough pictures and images. Now what I want to do here is I want to add some more text to the end of it. What I did with this picture is added taken with Canon EOS, etc, etc. And now you can see the image, it does look actually really cool. Almost as if somebody was taking a portrait image with the camera. And tip number 9 is using the stylize feature. And this kind of tells you it's a score from 0 to 1,000, how random you want the picture to be, like what kind of iteration. And you can play around with that. So this is stylize 600. So let's say we did stylize 50. And this is how it looks with stylize 50. So I find this personally not as cool as the other images. The final thing I would mention is just make everything as random as possible and experiment, because I believe that it's actually the prompts and getting good at doing the prompts that's going to make all of the difference in terms of the quality of art going forward. Whereas previously it was actually finishing a particular picture, painting the picture, etc. This is the massive shift here. For example, this is something completely random that I've typed in. Deleted scene from Matrix, revolutionary, unexpected, octane render, volumetric, 8K, etc. What I did first is re-roll it because I wasn't happy with any of the kind of images, and still there's nothing really looking good or standing out here. Obviously I'll have to make it a lot more specific, but let me just try the stylize and see if that makes any difference here. So I just added a couple of words and added the stylize 900. I added fight scene instead and Neo in the word prompt. In a separate video, I'll be discussing ChatGPT and how you can incorporate that with the art. But as an example, you could actually ask ChatGPT, and I asked it for ideas for ending scenes for the Matrix, other ways it may have ended. So I'm going to take a couple of these ideas. In fact, what I might just do, which is another random kind of bonus tip, is just randomly copy stuff from the internet. So let me copy all of this. And I'm just adding a few words at the end. So you can see when I did that, the images, not great, to be honest. Rather than Trinity and Neo, it's just a picture of what, like Bob and Sue. But what I did then was I did another random kind of prompt text, which was I just typed in Neo Matrix virtual reality, because that was the word we got from ChatGPT, and then subtle lighting, ink splatter, mind-bending surrealism. And this is kind of cool, but again, not Matrix theme specific. If there's one main takeaway from this video is obviously to experiment and try different things, but understand that the difference now, 2023 going forward, is going to be your ability to engineer the prompts, not your ability to come up with creative ideas or your ability to execute on the particular type of artwork. For example, your skills in Photoshop. To be honest, I think within the year, Photoshop may not even be a thing. You may be able to be very specific with your prompts and tell the AI engine exactly how you want to design any piece of art. Hope this helps. Thanks for listening.